Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Diana Divine, and I'm so excited and honored to be here today to introduce you to the Lyran race. If you are a Lyran Starseed, or even if you're not, most likely you are somehow connected to this race, as actually humanity and consciousness started with this race in our galaxy. And for myself, this has been an incredible journey. Years ago, I started remembering my origins and integrating and embodying that avatar self. And a few years ago, I also opened up to light language and source language, and that's a multidimensional communication, a birthright gift actually that all of us have. And I founded a source language institute to open up to that possibility. So today, I want to take you on the journey to learn more about the Lyran or Lyran race, as well as give you a little bit of that feeling of what it's like to feel in your body, to hear this language, how it resonates with you, and perhaps will open up a memory or encodement that you have within your blueprint. So let's take, I'll take you on this journey. So let me share these slides with you and we'll finish with activation. So Prism of Lyra, when I say a Prism of Lyra, um, we know that Lyrians are the original gatekeepers of the ancient knowledge, and they've been evolved over thousands of years in the star system Vega. So Vega is the brightest planet actually that we can see in certain times of the year on our sky. And Lyra or Lyra constellation that looks like a harp is actually we can identify as well. And that's where the Lyran race comes from. So if we go back to the beginning of the Milky Way, so the Andromeda galaxy that's next to the Milky Way, um, so the etheric beings, and when I say etheric, non-physical beings, came to Andromeda galaxy to our galaxy to basically begin a new experimentation in consciousness. And they wanted to see, they've done this in other universes, they wanted to see how it will be in our galaxy to embody consciousness and then be in a physical form. And these particular founders, as they call them, these etherical beings are called Elohim. You probably heard this from the Elohim, something familiar. The reference to them is in the Bible. We sometimes say Elohim as one God in the Bible, but actually it's a collective. It's not just one specific being. And this co-creator group decided that they wanted to create life, and the source itself, the energy expresses itself through consciousness, through light, through sound, and into density of physicality. And when they were thinking of where exactly they want to start this in our Milky Way galaxy, they looked at this tiny constellation of Lyra, and they chose it because of its proximity to the galactic center, which is where we travel through to get to other galaxies, and its favorable condition for physical life. So the initial races that we know of on Lyra system were Feline and the alien extraterrestrial races. The Feline beings, well, what's interesting about them, so they volunteered to come to this universe to help oversee this game, this simulation, so to speak, this consciousness evolution. And they say there's about 45 Felines, the volunteers for this, and those were kind of our founders. The avian beings came as well from another universe, and a lot of them kind of developed more into what we know today, birds and other creatures. So today I'm mostly going to focus on felines and where kind of Lyrans took off from. And so the felines looked at Lyra, and specifically they found one planet. There were several planets there, more than just one, but they started with a planet called Avion, as we know it. Then there was Avalon and many others that I remember through ceremonies, through Akashic reading. Avion, I remember really well. It was just lush and beautiful, very similar to Earth. There were a lot of lakes, streams. I remember these waterfalls everywhere, and moss. Like every time I see moss, it just like gives me these tingles as though I go back to Evian. And there were also kind of these caves, and many memories running through these caves. So if you think of the movie Avatar, it's very similar type of environment, beautiful and lush. And so Lyrians were really experts in genetical engineering. They just were experimenting all the time and trying to see how can they evolve from etheric form, the Elohim form, into more physicality. And so, as lions were, or the volunteer were used as the first form, they tried to breed the consciousness into the lions, into the felines, and they incarnated into that form. And then they were also developing this other kind of more Nordic type of race that very close to like the human that we know today, very Nordic features. And and they were playing with like DNA, and trying to see how these characteristics can be kind of mixed together. So one genetical line that I remembered was called the Royal Line of Avian. So that was a lineage that always was the first to do the experimentations. So for myself, as you can probably see the painting behind me, and now I'll share the painting after that. Very much similar to this picture by Vashta. It was a mix of these feline um, type of features. The eyes were kind of cat looking, and the face, kind of like what I said in the movie Avatar, but not so much blue. I'll talk about the blue. Those are more the vegan skins, but kind of lighter skin. And the hair, I remember being very blonde. So it was almost like myself. I remember I was a hybrid of my father looking very much kind of a warrior lion, and the mother looked like Galadriel from Lord of the Rings, very blonde. And so I was the first hybrid in the royal line when they were doing those experimentations. So the main races in the Lyran system were the Lyrans, the Nordic lions, and the blue vegans. The Nordic Lyrans were a representation of what they call the Omega Father God consciousness, and they took on more of the masculine energy. So they were very physical. They played with fire. They were very agricultural. Well, both races were, but they were just really integrated into the physicality. The vegans who had more of the blue skin, and they represented more the alpha mother God consciousness. And these are the ones that we're kind of reading in the Vedic texts, Vishnu and Krishna and those type of gods. Um, they were very similar to the original Lyrians, but like I said, they were kind of just softer, more of a feminine type of representation. And so the Lyrans and the Vegans both were very involved in seeding consciousness on Earth, and we'll talk more about that. But while they were still living together in harmony in the Vega star system, they were peaceful, they always operate in harmony together, they really focus on agriculture and really loving nature, connected to animals. Everything was just like one heartbeat. and they kept on working with the planet, ensuring the planet is doing really well because as we know, symbiotic with the planet, which is something we have to learn more on Earth here. And the planet will help them, and they kind of just were doing all these ceremonies, tribal ceremonies to help the planet, and also the resources and the minerals that we had on the planets in Lyran system were full and rich of fruits and vegetables and things that were cultivated. So the life expectancy was really long. It was about 300 to 425 years on average, and maybe even more. Again, with the all genetic manipulation, they could live for a really long time. And the way I remember the more humanoid type of mixed race, we also, some of us had tails and others didn't. And we had all these fun games we would play and very playful, kind of in our way of being and in the way we interacted with each other. We really loved community. Community was very important for us, and we were always in service to others. That was kind of what motivated us while we were here. And we're just very loving, beautiful beings, and always kind of moved in the same direction, always connected to our hearts and to the frequency of love. What happened was there was another system near us. It's the Draco Centaurian, and the Draco system had other beings on it that also came from a different universe. There is a say, no one really knows for sure. There were something they actually were kicked out of the universe because of their shadow frequency, and they were complete opposite to the Lyrians. They were all about service to self. They were all about power and possession, materialism. In terms of their interstellar space travel, they were more advanced than us. So we had some ships, but we're not as advanced as they were. And so, if you think about the movie Star Wars, it's very close to what actually happened from all my memories. I think in some ways the movies depict the truth, and the Galactic Akashic records keep that truth in our consciousness, and then they come out as a movie. So if you think about the Empire, those were the Dracos. And within the Draco system, there were different types of Dracos. It was a caste system. So the dragons actually were higher caste, and they were much more neutral and loving. But the Dracos that were like middle caste, which were more of a reptilian, and some of them called Lizzies, were negatively polarized, many run by actually females, and they just wanted to conquer. They wanted the resources of the other systems. They wanted to explore the space, and but it was all about expanding their empire and not really about being friendly. But what happened, they came to the Lyrian system, and Lyrians, again, with peace and loving, didn't really know conflict. And they kind of were very trickstery. They came in under pretext that they are neighbors. They just want a treaty to exchange information. And we, Lyrians, we were all very interested in space travel, so we wanted that advanced technology. And this uh, treaty, so to speak, sometimes even came as arranged marriages. So I have very clear memories of being as a kind of princess in a royal family married to a Draco. And so the other light language that I know pretty fluently, they came together, the Lyrian and the Draco. So the Draco is very rough language compared to the Lyrian. Um, it does really good job in clearing the field and clearing the throat, but it's the language even speaks to the frequency that Dracos carry. And yeah, with these certain amount of time, they were friendly, so to speak, friendly. But from my memories, when I ended up on one of the planets in Draco system, everything about the planet did not resonate with me. I saw through the deception that something was off, and I just could not allow myself to be there. And so I escaped that arrangement, that marriage, back to Lyran system. And that's about the time the Dracos actually attacked the planets. And it was gruesome, gruesome war. I mean, I have a lot of very traumatic type of memories of what happened. Just like in the movie, advanced technology were used, laser beams, and various kind of high tech, but also low tech. Many were on the ground, literally slaughtering the Lyrans, and Lyrans were taken by surprise. And so some of the initial planets they attacked, like Avalon, those, we were kind of so naive. We didn't believe this could happen, so we didn't react right away. But by the time I was on Avian, when we heard what was happening, I saw myself running through the forest and jumping on this ship. So some of us could, we were trying to escape. And so, because we had ship capability, just not as advanced, not like warp technology, so to speak. So um, those of us that survived just kind of moved out to other systems, and Pleiadian, Sirian system, Orion system, even Andromedan system. And so a lot of the star seeds that I meet, they, for instance, feel like they're Pleiadian or they feel they're Sirian. But if you start looking into their Akashic records or their own memories, they have a lot of the traits of their original star seed memories, because the soul, soul carries all of that information, even if they're reincarnated in other bodies. And many do remember the war, and many do remember the Lyran system. Um, so that's the story of the invasion and the Orion War. Pretty much after that, that was happening for a very long time. And in some ways, I feel we're still in the Orion War here. In some ways, we here on Earth playing out the drama that was happening through the Orion War, which was about power and versus love. So, so in terms of Earth and how I remember my first incarnation here on Earth, I remember I was part of a council and I volunteered to come on Earth during the Atlantis time when we were in Egypt, and we were trying to set up. Egypt was more of an outpost of the regional Atlantis, and we were trying to set up the grid here and uphold the frequencies of the earth in loving, beautiful way. Sekhmet is known in Egypt as one of the goddesses. There's many statues for her, the goddess of healing, and she's depicted as with lion's head. Um, and I remember myself actually being a high priestess in this form. So I was a hybrid. And when I came here, I came through a Stargate portal, and I was able to be in this form here on Earth for the first 400 years. And then when we closed that portal in Stargate, I went to the desert and I died. And basically came back already in the human form in a Mayan civilization. So Sekhmet has those beautiful traits of the Lyrians, as she's very courageous and as a daughter of Ra. And so, and known to put her foot down when needs to, and very fire-esque, right? So that's the masculine energy. And yet that beautiful goddess of fertility and healing is the most feminine aspect of the Lyrian. So that's the balance. The masculine, the feminine is very balanced form of a Lyrian. So if you think about Lyran physical appearances, so the Lyran starseed, you most likely look very similar to average, human on Earth, nothing different, but you might be a little taller. Myself, I'm almost 5'8", and the Lyran eyes usually uh, kind of cat-like. So you most likely love cats. I definitely have a cat in my house. The eyes and the way the nose is kind of gives away a bit the physicality. The eyes often are green. Mine are pretty much green. It's not necessary to have these features. I've met Lyrian black skin females and males, and but there's still that resemblance. Like you just know, the hair sometimes blonde, often red, curly. There's just that particular frequency that you just know most like that person is Illyrian. And the qualities traits that we have. So first of all, we're very independent. We just curious. We want to know everything. We embrace the masculine energy. So most of us probably very active athletes, or just kind of like love to move around a lot or dance. Like dancing, I know for me, is my form of expression. Sometimes you come across as very serious, definitely. Sometimes it's very playful and childlike when we allow ourselves to, but there's that seriousness. And it's because our soul just carries all those memories, going all the way back to the prism of Lyra, to where it all started. And the seriousness comes from perhaps even the galactic trauma of the Draco invasion, the responsibility we carry about the consciousness um, of Lyrians and where we headed as human species. Lyrians and the vegans very involved in earthly um, spreading of consciousness, and so we on a mission here, and we are not fearful of the unknown. I know myself, I've traveled around the world many times and been in places that probably other people have not. And I think it's just part of my intrinsic way of exploring, and just how I've always done it. Also, very strong sense of geography. Like I would find myself in some, you know, Eastern, in Asia or Eastern Europe, and various places where you just kind of like you just know where to go, and then I remembered a lot of it came from the training we had as Lyrians. We would just, I guess, those feeling characters, like just really good in knowing the environment and surrounding, kind of sniffing it out, so to speak. And that's very much a Lyrian trait. And like I said, we on a purpose. We just pursue it fiercely when we are clear about what we're supposed to do. We just kind of go for it. It key for us is to stay in our power. If we become too naive and let others kind of rule us around, that's when we lose our true abilities. So, whether through relationships, it often happens in relationships, from my personal experience as well, where I lost my power. But when I came back into my true self, it's just like this fire within me, like that Ahmed fire, as I call it. It's just it's there, it's in my eyes. I just in and we are drawn to the stars. We just always remember we're not from here, and yet Earth is home. Like I feel, because our home got destroyed by the Dracos, we just sometimes have that feeling of loneliness. And I've met many Lyrians that have had that feeling like this is not our home. But I've learned through time that actually Earth is our home. And in some ways, we turning Earth into the Lyra that we know, because it's so similar in the potential of Earth as well. So we're very connected to Gaia. We are natural leaders. Like I said, independent by nature, and we're here to lead and have others follow us. And we also know how to resolve things, just natural problem solvers. Just in the moment, we just figure things out. We know how things work. So some of us are engineers, some of us are more of artists. We kind of like to express ourselves, and the key for us is truth. We don't like deception. We like to really be true and be in our hearts. And so I know for me, many of the things that I do and activations I do are all about the heart. It's reminding people that their divinity, their true self is all through their heart. And we really believe in human potential. Yeah, we believe in this experimentation that started in our system. So it's kind of all the way back home. So, of course, we're highly psychic and telepathic when we allow ourselves to be. Um, we connect to others, we love others, we really love humans and to be together. And when we attune to frequencies, to others, to other frequencies, we kind of just like, we kind of like tuning forks for the environment. Because of the fire that we have this ability to transmute energies. So sometimes we express ourselves through music, art, dance, and we like to move around, but we also like amazing transmitters of negative energy. And we love to go create, and we love to be just in fun community environment where everything just kind of goes with ease and flow. When we nature, when we at festivals, it just feels home. We just really remember who we are. So I encourage you, if you're Lyrian, to just look into those traits, see if they match or not, or perhaps some of them do, and yeah, just really embrace them. And that can look various ways, like where are the colors, as you can see, wearing kind of my tiger leopard feline colors, and love yellow, love red, everything that represents the fire, doing art, and I dance, just any type of form that expresses a true nature. And with that, I would love to do a Lyrian light language, source language transmission for you. So wherever you are, just find yourself on a comfortable seat, or you can lie down as long as you can hear me. And we're going to take the next 10 minutes to just relax, close your eyes. And with light language, if this is the first time you experiencing it, your body, your higher self just knows what exactly it needs. So you'll receive the codes that you need. So for each one of you, it might be a different experience. You might feel some energy, you might see some colors, you might just feel very relaxed. Just surrender and allow and receive for the highest good of all. So that's my intention. I always set intention, and it is for ease and flow for this channel, for you to receive and open any type of DNA codes within you, any type of memory, or any. And so this is going to be a collective one. So there might be some chakras that will be opening up, and you'll feel in your body as well. Perhaps there will be a little bit of a throat as well, and the third eye. And Draco and Lyran kind of interchangeably play with me. So we'll see what comes in. Um, so just relax, close your eyes, and take a deep breath into your heart space. And as you become present in the now moment, just scan your body, scan your systems, and see if there's anything that's not serving you at this time. On exhale, just scoop all that energy that's not serving you and exhale it out. And you can say to yourself, I now release all that is blocking my highest good. I activate and understand all that I need to move forward on my path with grace and ease. And I'm opening up this transmission for the Lyran activation. Ruar is kirt tir ukura rashi ar ruamakika rupu mushuaki arikapu arapa iku araki shaku jati manyaku akima juku upakiki anyasu usharatama kiashupati arapa uchustuatiamua shuani kiatiapu shikania sata jiwaki maka uk ishi ati at ik ishap uati katakuka takatuka 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 shapujanya sa waritikia shimasatia upa ijaki waka akipu ar isha niasutuari amakashaya ujikakia sakumati inyakikuji sama wanasa sawa isushwa jiamanyaku yati shamata warita 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 yaku yama achushimata ikujanyata uratima shikanya sata ukushipanya sinya sayanyukuma atini alali uyati kipata sayaka ujua inyata uya iyanyasa aku pataya kikuratika kira kutiki putuka Shuma shumashi wa nasata ija shawa. Taking a deep breath into your heart. Usha. Opening your heart to receive. Opening your heart to infinite possibilities. Remembering who you are. Ujima. Bu. Iba. Iwana. Iwana. Shua. Shua. Taking a deep breath into your DNA, opening your DNA codes to receive these frequencies. Aquati Urasia Ushama Asa 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 Kuaba. Punya Sanya Awata Ishaima Eta Pucha Tanya Kumanda. Bring in your breath into this present moment. You can rub your hands. Picture yourself. I'm here. Bringing your hands to your face. Feeling groundiness in your feet as you are back here in the room in this present moment. I'm really hopeful this stirred up something within you, and usually lightweight language takes time to integrate. So I highly recommend to drink lots of water in the next 48 hours. Just observe yourself, observe your dreams, So if you have any dreams, write them down, journal, and see how it integrates and percolates in your being. Thank you so much, and I hope you learned about the Lyrians. And if you have any questions, please reach out, find me on social media, and I would love to assist you journey further. Much, much love.